What's happening, everybody? I'm recording this video tonight at 2:22 a.m. As I start this video, folks, this is the end of the day of football today. For me, I just finished watching the Notre Dame Stanford game. Haven't done my actual reaction video. I did a post-game reaction after the live on the live stream, and I appreciate those who jumped on board today for the live stream between the Hurricanes and Pitt. It was a fun day. The Canes thoroughly dominated the game. We all saw it. We all saw what Miami did to Pitt. We all saw how the defense played, dominant. We all saw how Carson Beck played, excellent. We saw the best player in college football, bro. Malachi Tony should win the Heisman Trophy. I stand on it right now. Malachi Tony should win the Heisman Trophy. He is the best player in college football right now. I don't give a damn what anyone thinks. This guy is the best player in college football. He is the best. I mean, God, he does everything, man. He does everything. If Travis Hunter wins the Heisman last year, well, Malachi Tony can sure as hell win the Heisman this year on a better team as an 18-year-old freshman who has absolutely dominated college football this year, people. What he did today was nothing short of spectacular. After he was spectacular last weekend, the fact that he could be more spectacular this weekend in a do or die need to dominate type of game. He got the ball over and 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 over. Let's start again. Over and 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 over. And he got the ball. He touched the ball 18 times today, people. 13 catches, 3 carries, 2 throws. That's just without even including the punt returns. He did return a punt a few yards. So he had, I think, like 20 touches or so. He makes plays out of nothing. This kid is absolutely sensational. And I don't like to sound like I'm just glazing somebody, but this kid is otherworldly, man. His ability to break tackles, his ability to be elusive, his ability to make plays. I mean, right now, this young man is sitting right now at number 9 in the country, coming into today in receptions. Okay, let me read you the list of guys. Skylar Bell, Easton Messer, Jacob DeJesus, Danny Scudero, Louis Bond, Malachi Lemon, Bo Sparks, Chris Bell, Junior Vandeross the third, and Malachi Tony. You want to know who Malachi Tony's right in front of in receiving in catches? Someone by the name of Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. Listen to the guys that are ahead of him that play Power 4 Division 1 football. I mean, Louis Bond is at Boston College. They suck. Malachi Lemon, Makai Lemon at a USC, Chris Bell at a Louisville, and Jacob DeJesus at Cal. The rest of these guys are, UConn, FAU, San Jose State, Texas State, Toledo, and Malachi Tony does this with the entire defense focused on him. And he had 13 catches today, so now he's at 84. Depending on how these other guys did, he might be finishing in the top 5 or 6 in the nation in catches as a freshman. And whether or not, and I'm going to say it, preface this completely right, transparently, whether or not Miami gets to the playoffs or not, or ends up in a bowl game, he's going to break Xavier Restrepo's all-time catch record, presuming he plays in the bowl game. I mean, there'll be no reason not to. He is a freshman. So presuming he plays in a bowl game, unless Miami turns the bowl game down, which I wouldn't be completely against. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be completely real with you. I am big to get this 11th win. I really want the 11th win, but I will say this: if they play it in the bowl game and they don't go to the playoffs, he will still break Xavier Restrepo's record for catches. He broke Amon Richards' record for receiving yards. I believe it was freshman record, or someone can correct me. But then you look at his yardage. Yardage-wise, he is 25th right now. He had 126 yards receiving. That brings him up to 970. So he's at 970 and 84 catches. Like, that would have him, I mean, he could jump into the top 10 potentially, depending on what other guys did. Definitely top 15. So, and there's only 7 guys at over 1,000 yards receiving. Eric McAllister from TCU, Deuce Robinson out of Florida State, Bo Sparks, Texas State, Makai Lemon, USC, Wyatt Young, North Texas, Danny Scudero, San Jose State, Skylar Bell, Connecticut. Oh, did I mention that Malachi Tony threw a touchdown today? Did I mention that? How many touchdowns has this kid thrown this year? Like, I want people to truly understand how unbelievable he is. And I haven't even gotten into the game right now because the game in itself was a clinic. Miami dominated. Absolute clinical performance. Outside of one drive, the defense was completely ridiculous. And even in that drive, thought we stopped them on 4th and 1. I did. I thought we stopped them on 4th and 1, if I remember correctly, and they gave him the first down. Guy was, I thought, clearly didn't make the line, but they gave it to him and they ended up scoring on that possession. Pitt did hit a couple plays downfield. There was some stuff open in the flat, but overall, Miami was completely dominant, held them to 229 yards of total offense. Mason Hines had less than 200 yards passing. We had him under duress the entire game. Ruben Bain was a monster today. They one-on-one blocked that dude today. I can't remember the last time he got one-on-one block, but he got one-on-one block today, and he ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner today. He was awesome. The D-line was awesome. Justin Scott has been a monster. Ahmad Moulton starts off the game with a sack to start the game. We go 6 and out in the first two possessions, 3 and out with them. They did get a 7-3 lead, and then we came right back down the field and made it 10-7. And from that point on, it was cake, man. The one concern I always have is that we shortened the game, and we did that again today. We led 17-7 at halftime. We scored again to start the second half. It was 24-7. The game was over at that point. Game was over. We really went into that ball control thing that we do, and this is where I get a little upset because I just finished watching the Notre Dame game, and they beat Stanford 49-20, and Marcus Freeman was visibly pissed at what was going on in that fourth quarter. He was visibly pissed that Stanford scored to make it 49-20 with 4 minutes to go because he knows the assignment. He knows what's at stake. He knows that these numbers are important. He knows that Miami held Stanford to 7 points. So giving up 20 to Stanford, he knows that Miami did not give up a touchdown to Stanford after the first quarter or second, whatever it was, the first quarter, whatever they scored. They scored early, right? So, but they didn't score again. And it didn't matter who was in the game at that point because they didn't score again. Now, he knows all this. This guy's not dumb. He understands what's going on. My problem with guys like Mario Cristobal, and look, man, he let Beck throw it at the end, and he completed that big pass to CJ Daniels. I think that was huge. 38-7 is better than 31-7. It is. It just is. It just is. And we beat them worse than Notre Dame beat them. We beat NC State worse than Notre Dame beat NC State. We beat we beat Notre Dame, of course, and then we also beat who was it? Who was the other game? It was, and then we beat Stanford worse than Notre Dame. So the only common opponent in which Notre Dame beat by more was Syracuse, and that we all know Syracuse checked out of that game. So he was visibly pissed, and he put his offense on the field, and they were chucking the ball down the field, trying to score, trying to get it to 56-20 because he understood what was going on. And Mario Cristobal, I wish, would have understood that as well and taken that seriously because Miami could have put up 50 on Pitt. Really should have put up 50, but they run the clock down on every play. Look, this isn't the NFL. And if Miami does not make the playoffs, I'm going to look back at these situations in which Mario Cristobal refused to punch people out when he was sticking in backups, third stringers, fourth stringers, letting Syracuse score in the final minutes of the game, letting NC State score in the final 2 minutes of the game. Like those types of little things can come back and bite you in the ass in situations like this. Letting Virginia Tech score again, make it 27-17, and we make it 34-17. So all these things happen. Now today, the Hurricanes, again, dominant. You can't say enough of how they played. They were fantastic. Some trick plays I thought were a little funky. I thought we saw way too much Mark Fletcher personally. I want to see more Gerard Pringle. I think every time Fletcher goes in the game, and I love the kid, but he is a power back. You need a speed back. Or hell, play him at the same damn time for all I care. Play him for the same damn time. Hey, shout out, props to Alex Bauman. He made some plays. Props to Elijah Lofton, who I've criticized, been very, very heavily critical of these guys. They both made plays. Lofton scored a touchdown on the touchdown pass from Malachi Tony. Carson Beck, outside of the one bad throw he made on that pick late in the game, that was 31-7. He was fantastic. I mean, he was absolutely awesome. And he's been awesome the last 4 games. So we win back-to-back games in cold weather situations. We finally have our starters back. Mario Cristobal at the end of the game says, "Hey man, look, head-to-head matters. Head-to-head matters." But he's not emphatic enough about it. I mean, I saw the press conference. He cursed at it, which was great. He looked a little, excited about it, and that was the first time we've seen some true emotion out of Mario Cristobal, like real emotion. And I just wish he'd do more of it. I wish he would do more of it. Now, I mean, Hurricanes are in a pickle, man. They're in a pickle. And I do believe that they should make the playoffs. I do believe that they will make the playoffs, but I don't know how. And I don't know how because I don't know what the committee is going to do. I watched all these football games. The fact that we had so many different things that needed to could have happened to help Miami. SMU losing tonight was a disaster, in my opinion, for Miami. Awful. Cal beating them after they just got drugged by Stanford is crazy. And they missed the field goal that would have tied it to send it overtime. It pisses me off more and more than I think about it because I'm not shocked that they lost to Cal. I'm not shocked going over across the country to Cal is hard. I know it is. We experienced it last year. It's tough. The travel is tough. But bro, they blew it, and I was hoping that they would go into the ACC championship game, beat Virginia, and be a 10-3 conference champion, which would have made our loss to them look a lot better. Now they're going to say, "Oh, well, they ain't beat it. They ain't a ranked team." Da 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 da. Duke is going to the conference championship. This is disgusting. It is everything that is wrong with college football. How can a 7-5 team go to the conference championship? Because they went 6-2 in conference and they played absolutely freaking nobody. Now I am disappointed in Wake Forest. I did not think that Wake Forest would look like that. I didn't watch that game transparently. 49-32 to give up 49 points to that Duke team. I mean, that's just freaking nuts, man. And I still don't know how the hell Duke is ranked ahead of Miami. I don't, because no one's really explained it. Because even if you look at the standings right now in ESPN, the order of it. It has it Virginia, SMU, Miami, Pitt, Georgia Tech, and Duke is the fifth, 6 and we have 5 6-2 conference teams. You want to know who Duke played this year in conference? I'll let you know. NC State they beat, and they beat them 45-33. We crushed them. Syracuse they beat 38-3. We beat 30-10. They beat Cal 45-21, which is crazy. They lost to Georgia Tech. They beat Clemson by 1. They lost to UConn. It's not even a conference one, but they lost to UConn. They lost by 17 to Virginia, and they played North Carolina, and they played Wake Forest. And now they're going to play Virginia again, and I think Virginia is going to drop kick them again. I hope they do, because if they don't, I mean, although there's some stuff about the ACC, could the ACC champion be left out if it's Duke? I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what the rule really is. If that could open the door for another power of a group of 5 team to get in, because they could be ranked ahead of Duke. I do hope Virginia wins the game. To be quite frank, I think it's embarrassing to have a conference champion that went 7-5 that could go 8-5 and and win the conference. That's just a disgrace. And the thoughts of Manny Diaz being in the playoffs just nauseates me. Still don't know how the tiebreaker works itself out that Duke is going. I don't get it. But look, Miami did everything that they could. They handled their business. We can look back and cry over spilled milk and cry about a really bad call in the SMU game at the end. We can cry about some really bad coaching in situations. We could cry about interceptions that Carson Beck threw in Louisville, specifically because they're going against SMU. If that first one doesn't happen with JoJo Trader dropping the ball, I think Miami wins that game running away. And I think if Miami coaches better, we win that game running away. But you have these games that happen today. You have Alabama looking like absolute complete cow dung. They win 27-20 over Auburn. That broke my soul tonight because Auburn was down 17-0, came back, tied the game at 20, and then they gave up an 8-minute drive to Bama that had some shenanigans in it, if you ask me. Um, And then they fumble the ball at the 30-yard line. And I'm watching this guy coach, and I'm watching him not call timeouts. He's got 3 timeouts. And rather than call a timeout and call a smart play, they're rushing. And, their quarterback did the best he could. Auburn dropped so many passes in that game, yet still had a 20-20 game. Had a touchdown call back on an illegal formation right before the half. Alabama is possibly going to win an SEC championship. This is what you have as a potential SEC champion. They're going to play Georgia for the SEC championship next week. And I got to be real with you. I hope Georgia kicks the crap out of them. And Georgia just struggled with Georgia Tech. That's why this whole SEC, ACC narrative is so nauseating, because they just beat a 5-16, 27-20. Don't tell me they're rivals. I don't care. They were up 17-0. They were up 17-0. And if you watch that game, Auburn did everything they could possibly do wrong. Seriously, folks. Like everything. And yet they're in the game. They're tied in the fourth quarter. They have the ball with a chance to tie it again. down the stretch before the kid fumbles the ball. I mean, that sucked. It royally sucked. He didn't protect the ball, man. That's how it goes. Oklahoma, LSU. LSU, Jesus Christ. I mean, watching Oklahoma win that game 17-13 made me cry. Literally, I wanted to cry in my car as I'm watching this. Seriously. It broke my soul tonight before that Alabama game. I mean, John Mateer throws 3 picks. That dude sucks, man. He sucks. I don't want to hear it. He's trash. He did throw for 318, but that dude sucks. There were 2 plays, man. He completes a deep ball on a completely broken coverage that made it 17-13. Don't know what the LSU DBs were doing. And then he has the 45-yard screen when LSU's up 10-3. LSU has a pick at the 5 and throw a pick right back where the kid could have scored. It's just ungodly frustrating. I mean, LSU can't move the ball. And realistically, OU can't move the ball really either. They both suck at moving the ball. They're both terrible offenses. Oklahoma has to have the worst offense of the top 50 teams in the country. Of the top 50 ranked teams in the country, I'm telling you right now, Oklahoma has the worst offense. They're so bad. Yet they're being glazed about, oh, they're automatically in. How can you look at this team the last few weeks and say this is a good team? They beat Missouri 17-6. They beat Bama 23-21. Yeah, they finished with 4 straight wins. They got beat by 17 by Texas. They lost to Ole Miss by 8. They struggled with Auburn. Yeah, they beat Michigan. I'm sorry. I can't look at this team and sit here and tell you they're good. They can't score. They have no offense. And if they make the playoffs, whoever they play is going to wallop them in the first round. Whoever they play is going to absolutely drag their asses. They can't score. This is the thing that Miami got criticized for being put at 18 was that they're inconsistent offense. Miami averages more points per game than Oklahoma by a lot. More yards by a lot. Let me confirm that, by the way, before I run my mouth. I can watch it and say it's a lot. Let's see here. Miami is right here. 33.7 points, 426.8 yards per game. And that's through 11 games. So this doesn't include this weekend. Oklahoma. There's no way Oklahoma averages more yards than Miami. There's no way in hell. I mean, they had 200 yards of offense against Alabama. Example, I mean, remember they got the criticism Miami took. Texas is averaging under 30 a game, 382 in yardage. Oklahoma is averaging 27.3 points per game, 350 yards of offense per game. You're telling me this team is better than Miami? Bro, come on. Come on, dude. Like we gotta be honest with stuff. We gotta get out of this SEC blowjob fest. Seriously. The SEC blowjob has got to stop. It's really got to stop. And I'm sorry. Let me look for Alabama. Alabama is averaging. Where's Alabama? They're behind us in yards too. They're averaging 415 yards and 33.8 points. Miami's at 33.7. Miami's going to pass 33.8. Alabama's going to drop because they scored only 27 points today. But I don't want to hear it. I watched Alabama look like dog shit against Oklahoma, no less. I watched them look like trash today. And if they lose, here's the thing. If they lose to Georgia in the SEC championship, I don't want to hear that they shouldn't be dropped from number 10. I don't want to hear it. Like, that's preposterous, you know? It's complete nonsense. It's hogwash. It's hogwash. Because the reality is this. The way these teams played today, and they want to talk about eye test. I keep hearing this Notre Dame eye test thing. I swear to God, I don't think people watch Notre Dame play Boston College. I really don't. They're in love with the fact that Notre Dame's won 10 straight games. Well, Miami's had some injuries. And I'm not making excuses for it. It's a fact. Miami played most of November without 7 starters. It's a fact. Probably why they also lost that game to SMU. That contributed to it. I mean, it's a fact. If CJ Daniels is playing versus SMU, I think we win that game. Other guys on deep. If Ahmad Moulton is playing that game, I think we win that game. Or playing more. I think maybe that was his first game back. I'm not sure if I recall, but he wasn't 100%. He look at him now. He looks incredible. And Carson Beck looks like otherworldly. He looks fantastic now, people. And Malachi, they finally figured out we got to find a way to get this dude the ball, and they're getting him the ball, giving him chances to make plays. And Gerard Pringle had 80 yards rushing on 10 carries. Like, it's clear as day. This Miami team is better today than it was a month ago, like a lot better. But this thing about the eye test, like the eye test is how you played last week, not how you played the last 10 weeks. Because if you want to be honest, they had a 25-10 game to Boston College, who's 1-11. 1-11. Like, what are we talking about, people? Look, I've said it. I've said it over and over again. And then you look at the other. We had the chance with Ole Miss. Ole Miss won. Lane Kiffin's probably out the door. Could that affect the decision by the CFP? I think that'd be very, very unfair if they were to knock Mississippi out. Oregon impressed me today with their win over Washington. I will say I was more impressed with that than I was with their win over USC, because that's a rivalry situation. And I thought Washington had a chance, but Oregon, it was 19-14, man. It was 19-14. Oregon jumped out early and they held on. And that solidified them, even though I think Miami's way better than them. Texas Tech, they can play BYU next week. I think Texas Tech should beat them. I hope they beat them. I think it makes it more simple, because if BYU wins, that's a problem, because I think they'll try to keep Texas Tech in, even though they shouldn't. Texas Tech has an unranked loss, by the way, people. So you have never heard that, right? You've never heard that Texas Tech has an unranked loss. Put the resumes of Miami and Notre Dame together. Miami now has 4 ranked wins. Notre Dame doesn't. Notre Dame doesn't have 4 ranked wins. Ranked at the time that you played, Miami has 4 ranked wins. They are 4-0 against ranked teams at the time that they played. Notre Dame is not. Notre Dame is 1-1. Miami, USC, Pitt, 2-1. They're 2-1. They're 2-2. Sorry, they're 2-2. Texas A&M lost. They lost Texas A&M. So they're 2-2 against ranked games. We're 4-0 in ranked games. But I stop adjusting the goalposts. Say, oh, they're not ranked now. No, they were ranked when we played. That's how ranked games work. When you played, that's how they work. That's how they worked for Oregon. That's how they work for everybody. That's how they work for everybody. Now, what was the other game? I mean, Michigan lost to Ohio State, whatever. Indiana, they won yesterday by 50-50. It was 56-3. But man, it's been a long day, and this is what I think should happen. I don't know that it will happen, but I think the AP voters have a vast influence in this. As I've said before, over and over and over again, they have a massive influence in this. Last week, Notre Dame had 1,117 points in votes. By the way, Vanderbilt won today, and they're ranked ahead of Miami in the AP. Miami had 849. Oklahoma had 1169. Does Oklahoma drop to where Notre Dame passes them, but Miami doesn't jump over Oklahoma and Alabama? That's a possibility. That is a possibility. What I think should happen is I think they should have paid attention to Miami's dominating win over a ranked Pitt team in 30-degree weather. And Miami should be elevated to number 8. Notre Dame stays at 9. Oklahoma drops to 10. Alabama drops to 11. And BYU drops to 12. And here's why I say this. Obviously, this is beneficial to Miami, but I'm going to tell you why I say this. For one, you can't make the excuse next week that if Alabama loses, that Miami doesn't move up and that Alabama doesn't move out. Because if you tell me that a 10-3 Alabama team that loses 2 of its last 4 games does not drop out of the top 12, it will be the biggest rigging on the planet, which we already know the thing is rigged in itself. But this rigging will be just so blatant in your face because they did not look good tonight against Auburn. You could not have watched that game and said, that's a great team. You could not have watched that team and said, that team should go to the playoffs. If you do, then you're lying. Then you're just lying. But yeah, so there's that. And then on top of that, so here's what happens. Alabama moves to 11, right? BYU moves to 12. So Oklahoma did beat Alabama. That still happened. They should be ranked ahead of Alabama. And I think both of those teams suck. Like, I don't think those teams are good. I think Utah could be better than those teams. I think Utah could possibly beat both those teams, realistically. Heck, I think if Texas played Bama right now, I mean, Texas did beat Oklahoma by 17, but they do have that one extra loss. And they're making all the excuses about Ohio State. Well, what if Miami didn't play Notre Dame? Like, Miami played Notre Dame, right? What if Miami had a weaker ACC schedule? Because they didn't have they played two teams. The teams they lost to are not bad football teams. I know they want to flip this narrative that they're bad teams, but they're both 8-4 teams. Not bad teams. Why is it an 8-4 team in the ACC is bad, but an 8-4 team in the SEC is good? Tennessee is ranked 18th. Will they even drop out of the poll next week with another? They got blown out by Vanderbilt today. They're 8-4 now. We already know that Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech are probably going to drop out of the poll now at 9-3 and 8-4, and SMU will drop out as well at 8-4. So they're going to drop out more ACC teams, screw them over, and probably move more SEC teams into the poll. Like, this is what happens. It's crazy. But I will say this. You put Miami at 8, you put Notre Dame at 9. You put Oklahoma at 10, Bama 11, BYU 12. You know what Bama and BYU have? They have an opportunity to win their way into the playoffs. So you can't come back next week and leave Miami behind them and say, oh, well, we can't move them back because they played in the conference championship game. That's the bullshit they ran with last year. They can't run with that again. That cannot be a narrative that you're running with. It just cannot be. We got to get off the Alabama cock because they've still lost to Florida State. Can we please put the bodies of work and look at how bad that loss is in comparison to any loss that anybody had? That is a tragic loss. That is a trash loss. For Miami not to be right ahead of those guys, and Miami will crush BYU. I don't want to hear nothing about BYU. I don't hear nothing about those guys. Those guys, come on. Come on. They got a ranked win over Utah by 3, a 22-point loss to Texas Tech. Those are their 2 ranked opponents this season. And they got Texas Tech next week at 12 noon. And I hope Texas Tech drums them again. I hope they drum them again. But hey, if Alabama beats Georgia, then Alabama is going to go in the playoffs, right? If BYU beats Texas Tech, guess what? They'll make the playoffs, right? You want to know what also happens if that happens? Miami could drop, but Miami will not drop out because at number 8, they won't drop out because at the end of the day, they still beat Notre Dame. Will this happen? Probably not. That's what should happen. It's what's fair, but no one cares about fair. Nobody cares about fair, but it is what's fair. It was a lot of football today, bro. I mean, I'm beat tired. I've been up since 11:30. Usually wake up later than that on Saturdays, but I'm beat tired, and it's 2:50 in the morning as I'm completing this recording. We'll see what happens in the rankings tomorrow, and of course, we will see on Tuesday the CFP. But I do believe that the AP and the coaches will have a massive impact on what happens on Tuesday. And I still do believe that if Alabama loses to Georgia in the SEC championship, it'll be very hard for the committee to leave them in. It will be hard. I don't know how they can justify it. So basically, and here's the problem. And this is the thing that they said last year when they said all this crap that they said, was the fact of the matter is you have a system now where you're saying these conference championships don't actually matter because there's no penalty for losing. There's no penalty to lose. And that's a problem. There should always be a penalty for losing, no matter the game. You don't get a gift because so why would Alabama even play their starters? Why? What's the purpose? Why not just run a whole bunch of backups out there? And that's what they did last year when they set that fucking dumbass precedent. And I hope they don't do it again, because if they do it again and Bama's ranked 10th and they lose and Miami does not get in the playoffs, it's worse than the Notre Dame thing to me because it'll be a 3-loss team again. Can you imagine being right behind Alabama again for a second straight year with them having 3 losses and 2 in the final 4 games? I mean, you can't. Woosah, man. I'm proud of the Hurricanes. I'm proud of how they competed. I'm proud of what they did. I just wish Mario Cristobal would have had this attitude back when we played against Louisville and back when we played SMU, man. I really do. But can't cry over spilled milk. I can just cry in private. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. This is Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.